As the first sun of Shkaufoe Ural rose over the eastern mountain ridge, Alexei and his team reached the agreed meeting point. The monastery's construction site was tucked into a natural rocky area that offered protection from the icy winds that frequently blew through the valley basin. The morning dew sparkled on the purple pioneer plants that held their ground between the rocks. The tough plants held onto the barren ground with their roots, like a living symbol of the human colony's efforts to make it in this harsh world. The barren landscape around them had an otherworldly beauty. In the distance, you could see the outline of the main colony of Ekaterinburg, where the original colony ship was now the centerpiece of the growing settlement. A 28-hour day of Shkaufoe Ural made for a strangely stretched morning light, bathing everything in copper hues and casting deep shadows among the rocks. Marina checked her data pads for the third time, while Nikolai prepared the drones for the surveying work. Her fingers flitted nervously over the displays, leaving wet traces on the glass. As a soil chemist, she had already analyzed the terrain several times, but today she would have to defend her findings to the representatives of the HELIX Church. The soil composition in the Kasach laboratories was complex and characterized by unknown minerals. She brushed an unruly strand of hair from her face and breathed deeply, the smell of damp stone and the strange moss-like plants filling her lungs. "They're coming," Marina murmured, nodding towards the path leading to the construction site. Her fingers tightened around the datapad, and a knot formed in her stomach. The low hum of the working drones suddenly stopped, as if even the machines had sensed the tension spreading in the construction site. Sister Ivanova walked up the path with measured steps, her white robe with the silver DNA helix patterns fluttering gently in the morning breeze. The rising sun transformed the fabric into a flaming banner that shone among the dark rocks. Her every step left imprints in the soft moorland soil, as if she were marking the planet with her presence. Behind her followed two other figures in similar clothing, a gaunt man with an ascetic face, his cheekbones jutting out like knives, and a younger woman, her eyes alertly scanning her surroundings. Their gazes glided over the strange vegetation with scientific curiosity and religious suspicion. The Baron Volkov. Sister Ivanova bowed in greeting, a formal gesture that Alexei returned with equal formality. It was the first time she had used his new title. The air between them vibrated with unspoken power related. Marian Trudeau, our construction expert, and Sister Elena, atmospheric purity specialist. She stroked her amulet at the word purity as if arming herself against invisible impurities. Her two monks bowed slightly, their movements synchronized as if they had been practicing for years. The cool morning breeze carried the smell of incense and antiseptic, the characteristic scent of the HELIX monasteries, which seemed strangely out of place in the wild moorland. Mother Mikhail had a datapad engraved with the emblem of the HELIX church, the metal surface gleaming like a holy relic in his bony hands. On the other hand, Sister Elena held a complex measuring device whose sensors were already buzzing and analyzing the ambient air. Her nostrils quivered slightly, as if she were physically sensing the foreign particles in the air. "It's an honor to meet you," Alexei replied. His voice sounded firmer than he felt. The new title of Baron weighed heavily on his shoulders, as did the responsibility for the success of this project. "This is my team. Marina, our soil chemist, and Nikolai, our environmental expert." Marina took a step forward, her chin slightly raised. Her overalls bore the marks of her morning soil samples, a sharp contrast to the immaculate robes of the church representatives. Brother Mikhail activated his datapad and projected the official building plans of the main monastery as they had been approved on Kasach. The blue lines danced in the air, casting ghostly shadows on his haggard face. "We must ensure that the sacred proportions are respected. The prayer rooms must be precisely aligned with the cosmic harmonies." His voice had the quality of polished metal, cold and unyielding. Every angle, every curve corresponds to a sequence segment of the pure human gene. Alexei nodded and activated his projector. The device warmed up in his hands almost as two holograms floated side by side in the clear morning air, one in the traditional blues of the HELIX Church, a geometric pattern of genetic purity, and the other in the more practical greens and grays of the colonial administration, adapted to planetary reality. Where they overlapped, strange color patterns formed, like strands of DNA wrestling with each other. We've kept the basic proportions, Marina explained, stepping up next to Alexei. Her voice sounded calmer than her pounding heart. Gray, purple moss plants beneath her feet crunched softly. However, we had to make some adjustments to consider the site's geological characteristics. Her hand slid through the hologram, marking a rock formation beneath the planned foundation. This mineral formation would react with your prescribed building materials and destabilize the foundation within a year. Sister Elena looked at the plans. Her eyes narrowed to slits as her meter emitted a silent warning signal. The air purification systems do not appear to meet standard specifications. The undertone in her voice left no doubt that she saw this as more than just a technical deviation, a potential heresy against the Church's doctrine of purity. HFY confirmed and stepped forward. His massive figure formed a stark contrast to the ascetic church representatives. Sweat glistened on his forehead, and not just from the rising sun. The atmospheric conditions here require special filters. We've improved the system to ensure a higher purity than standard plans. He activated his own datapad, on which complex atmospheric analyses appeared. The bulk spores in the air are particularly aggressive towards the materials specified in your plans. Sister Ivanova exchanged a glance with her companions. A silent communication flowed between them, years of shared indoctrination allowing for wordless understanding. Her hand clutched the DNA helix amulet at her neck until her knuckles turned white. Show us the exact specifications. Her voice had the sharpness of a surgical scalpel. The tension between scientific necessity and religious dogma thickened like the morning mist rising from the surrounding moors. The buzzing of the surveying drums resumed, an artificial heartbeat that cut through the tense silence. In the distance, the ancient shield structures of the Forerunner civilization rose into the sky, silent witnesses to a new conflict on this ancient planet.
Hey, I would be happy if you could give my video a like. Leave a comment and subscribe to my channel to stay up to date.